So as this white paper sets out, every area of the immigration system, work, family and study, will be tightened up so we have more control. Skill requirements raised to degree level. English language requirements across all routes, including for dependents. The time it takes to acquire settled status extended from 5 years to 10.
The UK government has introduced sweeping changes to immigration rules that are reshaping how employers sponsor skilled workers and how applicants qualify to work in the country. These reforms are far-reaching and affect multiple sectors, from healthcare and social care to education and finance. Let's break it all down. In December, the Home Secretary announced a 5-point plan aimed at reducing net migration and reshaping the way the skilled worker route functions. Central to these reforms is a significant rise in the salary threshold for skilled workers, a change that has sparked intense discussion among employers, industry groups, and immigration advisors. Previously, the minimum general salary threshold for most skilled worker visas stood at just over £26,000. Under the new rules, that baseline has been increased to £38,700. This is not just a small adjustment, it represents a fundamental shift in how the government defines what qualifies as skilled work and what level of pay should be considered appropriate for overseas hires. The idea behind this jump, according to officials, is to encourage employers to focus on recruiting from the domestic workforce before looking abroad. But many employers are warning that the sudden rise could make it difficult to fill vacancies in sectors already facing staff shortages. There are, however, notable exceptions to this rule. Health and social care workers who form the backbone of essential public services are exempt from the new higher salary threshold. Their minimum salary requirement will remain at £23,040, ensuring that hospitals, care homes and other health services can continue to recruit internationally to meet urgent demand. This exemption reflects the government's acknowledgement that the UK's healthcare and care sectors are heavily reliant on overseas workers, particularly nurses, care assistants, and senior care workers. Many of these roles have struggled to attract domestic workers, and without an international pipeline, the risk of staffing crises would be severe. Another important change is the removal of the shortage occupation list. Under the old system, jobs on this list allowed employers to sponsor workers at lower salary levels. That list has now been replaced by what is called the Integration Salary List, or ISL. The ISL will still allow for some salary discounting, but the discount has been narrowed. Employers can only pay a reduced salary £20,960 for roles that appear on this list, and the number of roles eligible for that reduced rate is expected to be far fewer than NEET before. Crucially, the government has signalled that the ISL will be updated regularly in consultation with the Independent Migration Advisory Committee, ensuring that it reflects the latest labour market data. Employers who previously relied on the broader shortage occupation list will now need to reassess their workforce planning and consider whether their roles still qualify under the new ISL criteria. A transitional provision has also been introduced for existing sponsored workers. Those who already hold a skilled worker visa and who are extending their stay or changing employers within the UK will not have to meet the new higher threshold. Instead, they will continue to be eligible at a slightly lower rate, £29,000. This transitional salary floor ensures that current workers are not forced out of the country or their jobs because of sudden policy shift. However, this transitional protection will not apply to new entrants who apply after the new rules come into effect. For employers, this means they can retain their current overseas staff on more manageable salary levels, but they will face higher costs when bringing in new recruits from abroad. The government has also made changes to how salary thresholds are calculated for those classified as new entrants, typically younger workers, or those switching from student visas. The discount for this group has been narrowed. Where they could previously be sponsored at a lower percentage of the going rate, that flexibility has now been reduced. This is part of the broader policy drive to raise the overall salary floor across the skilled worker route. Additionally, employers should be aware that allowances, overtime and bonus payments can no longer be counted toward meeting the minimum salary threshold. Only guaranteed basic pay will be considered. This is a crucial point. Many employers previously relied on total remuneration packages to push salaries over the threshold. Under the new rules, that approach will not be accepted. One of the biggest shifts concerns the level of evidence employers must provide when assigning certificates of sponsorship. Under the old system, this was relatively straightforward once a sponsor license was in place. Under the new regime, the Home Office has signalled that it will apply greater scrutiny to ensure that salaries genuinely meet the new minimum levels and that roles are credible, full-time positions. Sponsors may be asked to submit employment contracts, detailed job descriptions, and business justifications before a certificate is approved. This increased scrutiny is designed to prevent abuse of the system, but it will likely slow down processing times and increase the administrative burden on employers. Another significant element of the reforms is the decision to raise the minimum income requirement for family visas. This has been a controversial move. The government has announced that the income threshold for sponsoring a spouse or partner under the family route will also climb, ultimately aligning with the skilled worker threat. Critics warn this could split families and make it harder for lower-earning British citizens to bring their loved ones to the UK. The Home Office argues that the change is necessary to ensure families are self-sufficient and not reliant on public funds. Looking ahead, the government has outlined a 5-point plan to support employers in adapting to these new rules. First, it plans to increase investment in training for the domestic workforce, encouraging businesses to develop talent at home. Second, it will streamline sponsorship processes for highly paid roles and recognised global talent to ensure the UK remains competitive in attracting top professionals. Third, it will continue to monitor labour shortages and update the immigration salary list accordingly. Fourth, it will work with the Migration Advisory Committee to evaluate the impact of the reforms on key sectors. And fifth, it has pledged to strengthen enforcement, ensuring compliance with sponsorship duties and tackling exploitation. This roadmap is intended to reassure businesses that the government is not simply pulling up the drawbridge, but is trying to balance lower migration with the need to keep the UK economy running. For anyone considering applying under the skilled worker route, the message is clear: the bar has been raised. Applicants will need to show higher guaranteed salaries, more robust documentation, and clearer justification from employers about why their role cannot be filled locally. Employers, meanwhile, will need to budget for higher salary costs and factor in longer lead times for sponsorship approvals. In summary, these changes represent one of the most significant overhauls of the skilled worker system in recent years. The government hopes that by raising salary thresholds and tightening eligibility rules, it will reduce net migration while still attracting only the most skilled talent. But for many businesses, especially in sectors like social care, hospitality, and education, the practical effect may be fewer international recruits, longer vacancies, and greater pressure on already stretched teams. As these reforms take hold, it will be crucial to watch how the labour market responds and whether the promised investment in domestic skills materialises quickly enough to fill the gaps. Until then, employers and migrants alike face a new and more challenging landscape. You're watching Daily Visa News, your reliable guide through the changing world of immigration. If you find this breakdown useful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. And if you have any questions or experiences about how these changes are affecting your sector, share them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next update.